Hey everybody, welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler, and this week I am here with Dredge, Take 2. If you'll remember, now we've actually been in this series long enough I can start revisiting decks. I first looked at Dredge some number of months ago before the deck really broke out. It was just starting to crop up on Magic Online. Shadows of Innistrad had just come out. We got our Insolent Neonate and our Prized Amalgam to really kind of kick the deck off. At that point, we were running Bridge from Below's and Greater Gargadons, and the deck had a really bad mana base, and it looked essentially nothing like it does now. So I thought now would be a pretty good time to revisit it. The list has kind of settled down. People know what they want to play, and this is sort of the new version. So for anyone who's come to this after having watched the old ones or wants to go watch the old ones to see where the deck sort of came from, feel free to do it. But I wanted it to update, here as we enter into the fall again and the winter, really, I guess, and then more dredge to go around, and it's something you can expect to see at a modern tournament, and it's going to look like this. So this feels like a good time to go back to the deck. So I mentioned the bad mana base. Before we had Gemstone Mines and Mana Confluences and City of Brass and a bunch of stuff that did a whole bunch of damage to us. And the reason we did that was because you say if we're dredging most of our deck, we really need cards that produce colors all on their own. Rather than something else. Now the deck is sort of consistent enough and can play out of its graveyard enough. It doesn't need to rely on that quite as heavily. So we get to play an actual fetch land mana base with our Bloodstained Mires, Blood Crypts, Mountain Seaman, Stomping Grounds, to cast all your spells, including the blue splash, so you can cast your Prized Amalgams or your Narcomoebas. Copperlight Gorge rounds it out. More fetch lands, like I said. Now, Dakmor Salvage is the other one here. It's a dredge land, which is really important for triggering the landfall on your Blood Gas. It's a way for you to get back a land from your graveyard when you're going off. And be able to get your Blood Gas back in play. Now, the reason, I guess I'll go ahead and start with this. So the reason we play Dredge, what Dredge is you put Dredge cards into your graveyard, and that means you can put cards from the top of your library into your graveyard to return the card from your graveyard to your hand. So how this was originally envisioned was a really grindy graveyard mechanic where, your cards are resilient; they can keep coming back, but it's at a cost, the cost in your library. What the Dredge deck does is turn that to your advantage with things like essentially Prized Amalgam and Bloodghast. They come back from your graveyard with Bloodghast when you play a land, and Prized Amalgam when another creature enters from your graveyard. So, Narcomoeba is also one of those. So, when you're milling, when you're going through your deck and putting cards from your library into your graveyard, it hits the graveyard. Then it hits play because of that, and a Prized Amalgam comes back. So the deck can very, very quickly set up really impressive board states. Surrounding that out is, we have our dredge cards. That's essential. The Dark Blast can be a really good one. The Stinkweed Imps are Dredge 5. The Grave Trolls are Dredge 6. The Life from the Loams are Dredge 3. That's really good. You need to get those in your graveyard to start going off. In order to get them into your graveyard, you have discard outlets. Faithless Looting is a very good one on turn 1. Insolent Neonate is as well because you discard the card and then draw. So you can discard a dredge card. Then rather than drawing with this trigger, you can dredge, which is what you want to do. Lightning Axe, discard outlet. Collective Brutality, discard outlet, as well as, obviously doing things for you. Now this is the big one. This is the big change we get with Kaladesh, and it's just insane. Cathartic Reunion. We've seen Tormenting Voice a lot of times, those sort of effects. This kicks it up a notch. Discard 2, draw 3. So on turn 2, you can discard something like a Grigari Grave Troll, and then dredge up to 18 cards, which can lead to, 2 to 3 amalgams and Bloodghast each on the board. All of a sudden, it's turn 2, and you have 10 power sitting down. And that's incredibly powerful. Conflagrate rounds the deck out. Not only is it a discard outlet, but it also is a great way to finish off a game. So that's the deck. You'll see how it plays out if you haven't before. It's something you can expect to see in Modern. You need to be prepared for it. It's very powerful, very explosive. Quick walk through the sideboard. Bajuga Bog gets to come in when we can Life from the Loam back to our hand and hit our opponent's graveyards and the matchups where we need to. Spell Pierce for the combo matchups to interact with a little bit. Also can hit their graveyard hate from time to time. That's also what Inquisition and Thoughtseize serve those roles as well. Lightning Axe, more creatures. Abrupt Decay kills creatures, kills graveyard hate, rest in peace, things like that. Ancient Grudge has value if you mill it for artifacts. Another Collective Brutality for the matchups where you want it. Knot of the Bone, gain life against the super aggressive matchups. Vengeful Pharaoh is an interesting one. If it's in your graveyard and a creature deals you damage, you destroy that creature, then put Vengeful Pharaoh on top of your deck. So it's very good against something like Jund that's want to hit you with a Tarmogoyf, and then this will kill the Tarmogoyf, and then you'll dredge it right back away. So it's actually pretty nice little one of in those situations, and rally the peasants in the matchup. So you really need to go fast. You can flash it back, give all your creatures +2, and get that Alpha Strike in. So that's the deck. It's actually a ton of fun to play. I know it doesn't feel great to play against, speaking from both sides of this coin here, but it is a very good deck. It's when you have to be ready for Modern, and it's pretty successful. So let's go ahead and run it through some matches.